Why is Phil Ivey always at the final table?
Some type of skill.
Some type of skill.
Some type of skill.
All right, here we go. Next question in the mailbag. That's a good one. We can dive more into that in the future. I think it's super important. Dirty Birds wants to know, what's the best coverage or formation to stop trips? So he's having trouble lining up against trip sets, and he wants to know the best way to slow it down. Now, to me, I stay in cover 2-man, mostly if it's going to be tray open. But, I know what that means, right? That means I have to stop 4 verticals and I have to stop inside zone. And so if you can't stop 4 verticals and inside zone from these formations, you're going to be in big, big, big trouble. But, what do you like about inside zone defense against trips? Obviously, what stinks right here is now I could potentially find a way to get Stewart out to the left side.
Right.
And, with like a play like Sale, where you're not going to maybe carry over that. But what does it take? And why do we see these formations be so popular?
Yeah, the reason they're popular is because of, number one, the inside zone. It's really effective. You have the ability to run the ball to the left side of the field, middle, and the right side of the field. So that's what makes defending trips formation so difficult. But I think it does start with what you mentioned. I think that we all know how effective cover 2-man is. I think that you really want to make your opponent show that they can beat you out of this set. Like, make your opponent show that they can go ahead and they can make this cut back here. Like, show me you can do that. Show me you can beat me there. And right there, the safety actually came down and made a play. But I think that, especially when you're kind of getting a feel for it, if you don't feel that confident in a lot of your other blitzing defenses, I think the big dime 1-4-6 is hands down not only the best personnel in the game, but it's also the best defensive package in the game. The fact that you can get 4 linebackers on the field, linebackers are very versatile. If you can get the right kind, they can do everything. They can stop the run, they can play line of scrimmage, and they can drop back into coverage. Most D linemen can't do that, right? So that's what I love about linebackers is they have the ability to do it all. So really start with that big dime 1-4-6. You get 4 corners on the field. You have 2 safeties. It's the best personnel to match up against just about anything your opponent wants to do. You even have enough beef on the field really to stop the run in most cases. So if you're asking for best formation, it's the big dime 1-4-6, in my opinion.
Yes. And coverage-wise, you like the mix between the man and the zone. You like the man. You like the zone. You like to start with the man, make sure they can prove they can beat it.
You gotta make your listen. You see it so often. Like, you gotta make your opponent prove that they can beat man-to-man consistently, because it's a nightmare. You know at the end of a game, if you're up 14. You know, like, you go to cover 2-man because how difficult it is to beat it. The reason that cover 2-man doesn't oftentimes work that great in the beginning of a game is because your opponent has their entire playbook open to them. They can go to every play. They can run the ball. There's so much they can do. But when you know that your opponent has to run the ball and you just play cover 2-man, there are very few plays in the game that you can run back to back to back in order to beat it. So that's why I think if you can come out, like, on your very first third down of almost every game, you almost always be in cover 2-man. Like, be in cover 2-man because you have to make them show, I'm going to get off the field. I'm going to burn your defense here. So play cover 2-man when you get in those situations. It's a great defense to give you some confidence, and it's really, really difficult for your opponent to beat it. And I would say, think about this. Think of how difficult it is for you to beat cover 2-man when you're playing against people.
You're talking about you? Are you talking in general, or are you speaking to me directly?
No, not you.
I mean, I just have
not you.
Dot, motion,
I know
dot,
you got dots.
Route, cut, hit it, go. Quarterback's taking off now. What? Playmaker? Dot. Crazy, Farrells. Crazy.
I know you got dots, Farrells. But it's very, like, think of situations where you get in it and you're like, wow, you feel helpless.
Here's how I know people are helpless against it, because they'll be like this, right? They'll be like, all right, you're going to run cover 2-man? Sure. Like, first down, I got it. I'm throwing to the halfback. This is easy.
Right,
I can do this all day long.
And then that happens.
Or then they just go stand in user, and you're like, or you use that whole route, your entire first drive. Your whole first drive.
Right.
You're like, I got it, man. I got man beaters. And then it's like, oh, no. And then, like, you're running, you're scrambling, you're playmakering, and, like, that's not a good way to play consistent football. You'd much be better off with reads.
It's the Phil Ivey all in.
Yeah, it's bad.
Right.
So, yeah, he definitely wants a man. Quick question in the chat here, following up from June Cab. What about the $3.226 versus the big dime? What do you think?
Yeah, it's the same personnel, same formation, but when it comes to like the Maddenisms of everything, I think that I like when you look at this formation here, these outside linebackers line up a little wider than your standard 3-2-6. Now there are benefits to running 3-2-6. We saw from Duke in the Madden Championship how he had success in his games, but look how wide these outside linebackers that are rushing. They get really wide, and then obviously it's the blitz angle from the defensive tackle. And I know you've talked a lot about this when you've been streaming. Let's take a look at this blitz angle right here. This one by Clowney, it's one of the most unique blitz angles in the game where he kind of like loops all the way to the right, like fights, and it really can stress defenses, offensive linemen that don't have a lot of speed. So that I can say you can get by with the $3-2-6 or the 2-3-6, like. Those are definitely going to work.
We used to like that angle in the quarters like 2 years ago, man. 25, right?
Yeah.
We ran that in 3-4, True Sky.
Yeah.
It was fire. It was so fire. Yeah, we got new sub hype from Splash.